if this is a family, they've picked a favourite child and given that the shine and the gloss and paid for private education and put everything into that child. And then the other two just, dull them down a bit. So it's either that.
We can't afford to send all of them to private school.
Or the carbon's more expensive and they've gone, crikey, we've blown the budget here on the first two.
Yeah.
Just gloss that one up. It's one or the other, isn't it? It's like someone's either been treated well or someone's being shunted out of the family.
It's not an accident, is it? Hello and welcome back to the episode of Kickpoint, the Golf Gear Show. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for your company and Happy New Year. We've got a very exciting episode today. My name is Dan. I'm joined as always by Happy New Year,
Joe.
Yeah, 2025.
2025, what a time to be alive.
And we're starting it with a bang. The brand new Callaway stuff has launched and we're going to get stuck into it today. It's called Elyte, Joe. The Callaway Elyte.
It is called Elyte. I'm going to ask you about that in a minute.
We're going to talk about
we are going to talk about
that. So we're going to spend the whole episode talking about it today. Joe's hit all the drivers. He's hit the irons. And we've got feedback on the fairways and hybrids as well. So a real deep dive into the whole range in this episode. And that's what we're going to do.
Don't overpromise. It's a deep dive into driver and irons. And a slight top line recounting of story on the fairways and hybrids, just so you brace yourself. But it'll be deep on driver and irons.
Joe only tests drivers and irons, so he's going to get that on that. But Joe, this is the first time today that I've seen any of this equipment in hand. I've spoken to you about it anecdotally and Sam anecdotally. So I'm kind of like the listener and the viewer. I'm going to be taking this on board for the first time.
It's an educational piece for you. This,
very excited. So that's coming up in this episode today. Reminder, we are on YouTube. If you are watching on YouTube, hello. Thank you for joining us on that particular platform.
Don't we look nice?
Do subscribe if you can. That helps us out. Comment, get stuck in, like it, do things that make it do well. That would be great.
We'll be an interactive channel because I'm one of the few people that actually is sad enough to
Joe
respond to all the... you comment, I'll comment back.
Joe will be back. But audio listeners, you're the OGs. We're always there for you. And we will be as prescriptive as we can, as we always are. But because it's a launch episode, YouTube might be a good place to go and see these drivers for yourself. You can comment on other platforms. You can review us as well on your audio platforms, and we would really appreciate that. But before we get stuck into Callaway, Joe, a bit of housekeeping. Your Christmas present's on the set, isn't it?
Yes, you gave me a lovely little... We drew each other in the Secret Santa, not the Kickpoint Secret Santa, because,
that would be
because
so
there's only two
funny.
of us involved, so that would have been very light. But equally...
We should get the camera crew involved next year.
That's a very good point, actually.
But the Golf Monthly Secret Santa, but I reckon that might have been rigged. But that's fine because we got something nice. So I got Joe his Lab Golf swear jar.
So been a running joke, been a fan of... It's been confused, actually. I'd like to clarify this. A lot of people keep saying I'm just going on about Lab.
Oh, and see how this is going to go. I didn't bring any change in
I haven't
today.
got any change, have you? So this will have to start from next week. But it's not necessarily Lab as a brand that I am... what's the right word? Not invested in, but I'm championing. It's the whole concept of lie angle balance putters, of toe-up putters that don't want to move away from square, zero torque putters, be that the Odyssey version, be that PXG, Bettinardi, whatever. I've got my opinions that some are better than others, but that's the method I'm championing, not just Lab.
This is why I got the swear jar, because this happens.
But I equally...
This happens over and over again.
But it is funny to say I just go on about Lab. So there's my Lab swear jar, and that's what we'll go with.
Where's mine?
I forgot it, didn't I? So I've actually thought about it and made it, and it is at home. Yeah, it's a homemade one. Very thoughtful and cheap.
We'll reveal all soon for that one. But yeah, this will be a permanent fixture of the set now. And I do also want to talk about behind my head, this tour bag. The set's really coming together, isn't it? This is a Callaway tour bag from Torrey Pines, US Open 2021, won by Joe. Come on, son.
Torrey Pines, 2020. John Rahm.
John Rahm.
Thank you.
Cool,
you sprung that one on me,
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
you?
properly did.
That was his big left to right putting.
Two of them, I think,
two or three down the stretch, wasn't it? So shout out to Jack Steadham from Callaway.
Thank you, Jack.
For sorting that out. That's really, really
We've got some other nice bits, some Odyssey, actually, but they're going to take a while to get up on the set. But another reason to go find us on YouTube and check it all out. Enough waffle, Joe. Callaway Elyte. I'm afraid I'm going to have to sit back and just enjoy today because...
Tough day's work for you.
Yeah, tough day for me. Tough stint.
That's you done, is it?
Right, off you go.
Callaway Elyte.
Spelt with a Y.
Spelt with a Y. And yes, that is important because that actually is a little nod to the founder, Eli Callaway. So it's not just they've misspelt Elite. So we know Elite means best of the best. Great bit of branding, great bit of wording
Cheers,
for that. But with the Y, Eli Callaway, founder of Callaway. So it's a little nod to Eli in there, which I think is nice. What do you think about that?
Yeah,
cheesy or nice?
No, now you've told me that, I really like it because I like the nods to Ping's history in a lot of their naming. So I've got absolutely no problem with that at all.
Okay, cool. We've got We'll start with driver, shall we?
Yeah.
So in the...
I'm going to look at them while you're talking.
Go on, yeah, look away. So in the driver models, we've got 3 models. So we've got the Elyte, their standard / core model, not the one you've got in your hand there. We've got the Elyte Triple Diamond, which you've got in your hand there, which is the slightly more compact, lower spinning version. And we've got the Elyte X, which is more of the high MOI forgiving game improvement one. So very simple range, pretty standard for what they do. And
just good to see on the naming thing, by the way, to come back to that. As journalists who write things, the Callaway Paradigm AI Smoke Triple Diamond, not RIP, just rest. Don't care if you're in peace or not.
Not the product, because the product was great.
The product was brilliant. I'm never going to say that. Never going to say the product.
I thought this yesterday, so I've been writing written reviews as well for Golf Monthly.
Links in the description, by the way, if you want to get more into that.
Links in the description, indeed. But I kept thinking I was missing something, so I finished. I'd write the title, Callaway Elyte Drive Review, and I'd be thinking, hang on, where's the rest of my words? And I genuinely thought I was missing something. So, but yeah, when you get used to the fact that there's not all those other words, it's great, and it simplifies it. We've been banging that drum for a little while, haven't we? Companies overcomplicating the naming of their product. So this is solid.
This is good, but this is trivial. So let's get into the real stuff. And let's do that.
Go on. I've started. Yeah, I've got a little format here.
I've started, so I'll finish.
You'll have to bear
sorry,
with
I'm
me.
trying to butt in.
So I went to the product launch out in, as you did with Cobra, same place, Soto Grande.
Exactly the same place.
And it was a great trip, and got to test it all, got to play some golf, got to learn all about the tech story. But if I'm honest, when I came away from the initial product presentation with the tech guys, with the PR guys, I hesitate to say I was a little underwhelmed.
Okay.
Not because of the way they presented it, because they presented it with they're great people, some really bright people, presented it with great enthusiasm. I just couldn't put my finger on what the headline tech story was. It's not like last year we had the Quest for Inertia 10 with TaylorMade, Ping Max 10K. That was a huge story. Historically, we've had low spin stories.
And there's normally a big mission statement at the start of these presentations that we get. And Cobra's this year was Future Fit 33, for example.
Correct.
Stuff like that.
And there kind of is, but it was a little bit sort of convoluted to get to, and you've got to dig a bit deeper. So what I really took away from it is the tech story is they're trying to blend some features of other drivers to get the best of everything. Or as they put it quite succinctly, fast head shapes are unforgiving, and forgiving head shapes aren't fast. So you're always compromising in designing something with shapes. So what they've done, they've invested very heavily in in-house 3D printing. So they've reduced prototypes. So the production of prototypes from, I think it's 3 months to 5 days.
Wow.
So what that means for them and us is they can do significantly more trial and error, make different shapes, test them out for aero, test them out for MOI, test them out for CG projection, all that type of stuff over and over again. No, that doesn't work. Right, let's go again. 5 days later, another try. 5 days later, another try. So that sort of feeds into that story. Remember we were talking about the Cobra Limit 3D irons and Bryson saying there's not going to be long before 3D printers get so consumer available that people will be printing their own clubs and prototyping them within a couple of days at home.
Good to see that the manufacturers are doing that now, and it's speeding up their prototyping time. They must be thrilled by that, just internally. That must be brilliant if you're an engineer.
Will it depends on if they're work shy or not, because what this has done is normally there's around 4 rounds or iterations of heads that they would go through to make a range. They have an idea initially to make a range. The Elite cycle had 75. So they made 75 iterations and rounds of prototyping to come up with what they've come up with. So I think you can rest assured this has been severely well researched and well tried and tested. But basically the top line to cut through the presentation and to cut through what I've read and what I'll go into an experience. So basically what they've done is they made a higher MOI product than AI Smoke. So something that's slightly more forgiving and more playable from more areas, but with better aerodynamics. So that essentially means we should be able to move it quicker through the air. Better club head speed will result in better ball speed and better distance. But also when you combine that with that high MOI number, you're going to get some help when you miss the middle. So you're going to get some forgiveness.
And are the MOI numbers similar to AI Smoke, or have they improved on them? So we've got improved MOI.
improved AI as well. Funny you should mention that.
It is,
They've
isn't it?
they've
They love a bit of
changed
AI
the face
Callaway.
as well.
Yeah.
They've moved that on a little bit
Is
as
it
well.
the same AI face with the sweeter from every spot? They just tried to expand that this
Different
year.
story. It's I think it was AI
Yeah.
times 10, I thought, or 10x was the. So basically, it's don't know. Basically,
That's fine. If you don't know, that's fine. It's easy.
I remember
just to
that from
carry
the
on.
presentation, but there was a lot of stuff going on. But basically, it's had a bit more work done to it, and the AI has had a bit more learning and
Well,
created.
that's it with
a
AI,
slightly
isn't it? The
different
more
face.
information you feed it, the better it should become at sorting something out.
Got
Right?
out of that well, didn't I?
Well done.
Thank you.
That was
Thanks
a
very much.
That was a cul-de-sac you went down.
Stop springing things on me, T. You sprung me on the Tory Pines, who won the US Open. What's the face like? Crikey.
What's your favourite colour? Is that an easier one? Should we bed you with a couple of purple?
Purple.
Wonderful.
So basically that's it in terms of the tech story. So yeah, we can move it quicker and it's going to be easier to hit in terms of those miss hits. You're going to get more benefit from it. Is the idea.
I see exactly what you mean about you coming away a bit like, what?
But that's what I mean. You can
all they've
usually-
done is make, I might say all, that's sort of belittling them, but it's like, oh, it's a bit quicker.
Yeah.
Well,
It was
it's a good thing.
And to be fair, what I liked about the presentation and like what I was told at Callaway, no one was trying to pull the wool over your eyes and
That's
say,
good.
look, this is, you won't believe this is incredible, blah, blah, blah. They flat out said, look, we back our products from last year, the year before. We've pushed things really a long way here. So what we're doing at the moment is we're making incremental refinements and fine-tuning these things just to sneak a bit more out of it because, it's almost if they did something revolutionary this year and said, oh, this is so much better, you're kind of saying last year was nowhere near what we could do. And
Yeah, you're cannibalising your own stuff then, aren't you?
Correct.
Really? You don't want to do that.
And they were totally upfront about that. So they're not trying to pull the wool over anyone's eyes and say this is going to blow your mind. This is going to change your game completely. That's not the marketing strategy here. It's
That's
just
good. I don't like it when brands
we've made
do
a
that.
better and more refined product. And
Okay, so that's the tech. Can we talk about the looks now before we come on to the performance?
Go on.
And we'll bring all the three heads up now, so you can have a look for yourself.
I'm going to hold two up.
Specifically from a dress, because when I pulled these out of the bag this morning before we started filming, I was taken aback by the fact that one of these heads has a gloss crown,
Yeah.
and the other two have a matte crown.
What do you make of that? So just to
I've
explain,
not quite formed my opinion yet.
just to put some context around that. So the triple diamond head, which is aimed at your lower handicappers, higher speed players, it's a low spin product with a smaller head. That's got a kind of a very clean, glossy black crown.
Yeah, like a GT, Titleist GT crown,
Correct,
something like
exactly that. And then the Elyte and the Elyte X have a sort
You
of
can hear
more
it. Look. Ooh,
charcoaly.
that's the light.
Yeah. That's Dan.
Bit of ASMR for everybody.
That's Dan rubbing the head.
I'm
there.
bringing the set down with me. It's all good stuff, isn't it?
So the Elyte and the Elyte X have a matte finish and a slightly lighter, so it's more charcoaly than black, isn't it? Or is
Yeah,
that just,
good point.
or is that just or is that just a matte black? I think it's more charcoaly. It looks lighter. So the banner strip at the front is black, and then the sort of the back carbon is a little bit lighter, isn't it?
When was the last time you saw a range of drivers within the same family with different crowns like that? I can't think of one.
Someone will correct me, but
Someone will
can't
know
think of
out
one
there.
off
Let
the
us
top.
know if you do. Comment if you know one. But
And I'm not sure.
genuinely shocked. Why have they done that, Joe?
Couldn't tell you. Didn't ask the question. Wasn't raised in the presentation, and I'm not entirely sure why that's been done. I'm not sure what I think about it. Does it bother me? It's not like you're playing all three drivers
Exactly.
at once.
Yeah.
ever, is
Yeah.
it?
You pick the one. But what if you're you need higher MOI, or you're not an LS kind of player, and you prefer a gloss crown? You're like, oh, I could have had it. Look, they tried it.
Correct.
That's a question. Also, the triple diamond head doesn't have the Callaway chevron as an alignment aid.
That never has, to be fair. So
hasn't it?
No.
Fair
so
enough.
the triple diamond product is usually just left blank on that top edge,
It's
which
just
I like.
it's just a bit of a strange one.
I can't figure it out, and I'm not sure what I make of it. Like I said, I don't know whether I like it or dislike it. You can only play one driver at a time. Well, you can't if you decide my double driver strategy from.
You could have both. You could have both in the bag.
So that might make it weird.
Are you someone that's wed to matte or gloss? I know plenty of people who are like, I only play matte or I only play gloss. Are you someone that's happy to dip between the two if the driver works for you?
Never thought about that. Don't think I've got a preference if honestly in driver
Sounds
head.
like you don't. Otherwise you just said there and then. Do you know
Weirdly,
what I
in
mean?
shafts I do. I much prefer a matte shaft than a glossy finish shaft. So that's something for you to ponder.
That is something for me to ponder.
But yeah, so in terms of the looks as well, right? I saw anyone who's got the internet will see some of these.
anyone
Instagram.
who's got the internet.
You've got the internet.
What year is this?
If you've got the internet, which would probably be most of you, you might have seen some of these leaked images online. We've seen a lot of it this year, haven't we? A lot of pre-release leaked images from certain websites, certain Instagram
what
accounts.
happens is these brands want to get their new products in the hands of their players, and to do so, have to put it on the USGA conforming list. That's when these quote unquote leaks begin, and then because it's in the hands of players, people snooping around the ranges will get little pictures of it. Are you coming on to say what the initial impression was? Of the looks?
So I saw a lot of these comments. I do read those comment sections. It's nice to get a flavour of. I know what obviously I think.
Are you sure about that?
Sometimes, but it's interesting to see what the general public think and see if they agree with my thoughts. And it seems to be taking a bit of grief in the comment
It copped
sections.
it from me.
Did it?
My initial thoughts of this driver from those views.
You were commenter.
I'm a little troll.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a little keyboard warrior.
Wow.
No, I don't actually comment. I'm one of those. I'm like a voyeur. I just sit back and watch from a distance and enjoy myself.
Yeah.
But I didn't quite like the look of it. It looked. I don't want to say what I actually thought of it because it's harsh. But the point being, in person today, I've done not a 180, but like a 90.
So my take on it is an interesting one. I'll let you be the judge of my take on it.
Joe thinks his own take's interesting.
Yeah, it is an interesting one. It's the double playing. It's the double point of view thing that gets me. So people in those USGA leaked conforming list photos, you only generally see this product from the sole, don't you? You see it from that position. I just don't know how.
It doesn't look great from the sole.
But how relevant is that? I agree to an extent. I agree to an extent.
Look at it again. Let's bring up the sole image for folks to look at.
Yeah, bring that up now. So, but bring it up of the Triple Diamond and of the X as well, because they're do
different.
Slightly
Hold on,
differ.
so let's talk about the difference in the sole. So one's matte and one isn't. Yeah.
Well, so
What's going on down here, man?
It is all a bit different. So the Triple Diamond has got some more visible carbon and that sort of carbon impression with the matte. And then on the Elyte and the Elyte X, you've got a bit of a shinier, sort of stripy accent, which I'm less of a fan of, but. Is it the best looking driver Callaway have ever made from that angle? No. There's some stuff I really like about it. I really like the accent colours. I like the green that sort of reminds me of Epic and Epic Flash and things like that. But generally speaking, I think the Triple Diamond looks better from that angle than the others. You were the other way around.
I'm the other way around. I think the X and the core model looks
better. But that just shows you how subjective this stuff is as well.
And also, what's the point? As in, like...
In what, Dan?
Sorry. Also, like... Who cares what it looks like from the sole?
This is what I'm saying.
Ramming against the ground when you hit it,
But yeah, but people will argue if I'm shelling out £600 for a driver, I want to know from every angle. I'm going to love it in every piece.
When I buy a car, I don't care what the underside of it looks like.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. And this is sort of my argument: is that you're going to look at that for the 5 seconds you look at it on the shop floor and then pull it out. And then you're going to pull the head cover off. I don't even think I look at it then. I pull the head cover off and it's down in the playing position.
I'm too locked into which side of the fairway I'm going to miss it on.
Correct, yeah. So I'm just not sure how relevant that is. Obviously, I know you're making a product, so you want to make the best you can from every angle. Is it offensive? No. Is it the best one I've ever made?
It's definitely not their best, is it?
No, I don't think so. But like I said, I don't think how relevant it is. And then when you switch into that...
Yeah, what are your opinions on the playing position? Because that's important, isn't it?
Well, I think... It is, again, it's strange that they're 3 different models. So you've got to kind of, there's 2 different finishes within 3 models, isn't there? So you've got to kind of, again, split it a little bit. I love the look of the Triple Diamond, the gloss, clean, no chevron finish. I think that looks really, really good. And it's a shaping thing for me as well. I love that little squat, sort of deep-faced, slightly more compact head. Again, you were the other way around, weren't you? You like the matte carbon.
Much more. I am a matte. I must be.
He's a matte man.
I must be a matte man.
He's a matte man. So Dan preferred the more matte carbon on the Elyte and the Elyte X. But, I mean, outside of that, we're just talking finish there. The shaping of them's great.
Mm-hmm.
They're all a little bit different. They all sit beautifully square, frame the ball nicely, and I think they look really, really good from the playing position. And that, to me, is quite honestly all that matters.
The face etchings, the laser etchings, there's 4 or 5 drivers this year, a couple we can't talk about yet. They're going to look incredibly similar from this angle.
Well, 2 we can that have already come out. So Titleist GT have got a very similar face in terms of the graphics on there. Cobra have done the same. They've introduced that sort of more the lighter laser etching to highlight the face. And the thing is they're trying to allow people to see more face, which makes them think there's more loft, gives them more confidence. Don't need to help it up in the air. You're someone who likes that again. we've been opposite on everything of late,
We
haven't
are.
we? So, but
What we
I'm someone who
like.
doesn't like to see too much face, so that's not great for me. But it's a really minimal point, I think.
To
But
me, on the etching on the face, the Cobra does show it's a bit brighter. I think it shows more loft. This still shows plenty of loft. I'd be happy to play that. I think the Cobra shows it even more. So if you are someone like me who wants to see loft, I'd lean toward that. Can we talk about the sort of black strip banner on the, and we'll bring these images up from the dress now, on the Core and the X model. You spoke about this in the Cobra, and how it sort of juts. This one juts out at the hosel toward the heel. Are you okay with that?
it does it. I think it does it a lot better than the Cobra.
Yes,
So
I
the
would tend to
Cobra,
agree with you. Actually, it sort of suits. It fits the shape of the head.
again, yeah. For those listening, tricky here, but
Go on,
the
do your
banner strip
best.
that goes down the front where the carbon meets the titanium and the face, it's quite uniform in width from the toe. It goes a little bit thicker in the toe, thins down to the center of the blade, and then obviously it's got to go somewhere from there around the hosel. This one, it does cut in more in the hosel than the toe because it's got to get round that hosel, but it does it in a smoother and more gradual way than the Cobra goes quite sharply.
It goes
and quickly.
It's like they went, oh, we've got to go over there.
And
This
cuts
one's
a
like,
lot.
we're going to go over there.
So I think that's really good. Looks, yeah. I think they've done a really good job there. And like I said, all three, whilst slightly different in the playing position, I think all three look really good.
Cool.
I've got
Okay.
no
I think
problems with that.
I'm totally in
whatsoever.
agreement with you there. I think the sole looks better than it does in person from that weird. With these USGA conforming ones, it comes in this horrible black and white image as well. So everyone's
Yeah.
kind of like trying to figure it out, and it's never a good look for the brands first out the gate. I don't think, is it?
No,
But that's the way of the world.
they must hate that because they spend
Oh
all
my
those money
God.
on those nice studio 3D renders, and they just look so good.
And the first thing people see of them,
is a black and white stark image with no context. Yeah, they must hate that.
but yeah. So I think if you were like me and a keyboard warrior online, I'd say check these out in person for yourself. I think we're in agreement the sole could be better, but from the playing position, really solid. Should we talk about what really matters, Joseph?
The performance,
This
Dan.
is the
Well, I'm going to go.
performance.
Yeah, I'm going to go model by model. So let's start with the middle of the road, shall we? The Elite. So
Please.
the one that's going to have sort of the more broad appeal to the masses. It is kind of that midpoint. So I always think it's funny for me. Testing drivers is a little bit funny because I'm a selfish man inherently. So I get more excited by drivers that I think might get into my bag or I could game. And when I picked up the standard Elite for the first time, although I've been in some more high MOI products of the last couple of years, I played the TaylorMade QI10 a bit last year, even the G430 Max 10K. I'm still probably more suited to that lower spinning product. So I was thinking more LS would be my thing. And when I put it down again, like I said, I was more a fan of the LS head. So once again, I didn't think this would be something I necessarily wanted to play. That was until I hit it, Dan. It is really good.
Okay, we like this. This is the first I'm hearing that this. We didn't even talk about this off camera actually. So
Honestly,
it's all news to me.
really
like it.
good. So one of the things I did like about it, which it's not going to be a problem for anyone else because you can address this with shaft and loft, etc. It's a slightly lower spin profile than, to me at least, in my delivery, than some of the other
Core models.
Core models.
Yeah, let's call them core.
Core models. Yeah, that kind
So
of
the dark, DS Adapt X.
correct. Yeah, that type of
A bit
stuff.
higher spinning than that. Excuse me, lower
a bit
spinning.
lower
you just said.
spinning than that. Yeah, for me. So yeah, I liked it. So it looks like, but once again, what they've done with the technology in terms of that MOI, it was really playable. And to achieve that, which is what I liked so much about Ping G430 Max 10K last year, it's not at that level of forgiveness, but it is very playable from the miss hit spots and not excessive in spin whatsoever, which is a really good combination for almost
real-
anyone, but
was gonna
certainly
say.
for me. And it really took me by surprise. I don't know whether the look just made me think it was going to be sort of a middle of the range spinny.
It looks like it, doesn't it? Because it is a broader profile, you'd say, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I don't know what quite gave me that impression, but yeah, it didn't do that for me. When the first few hits I had, it really took me by surprise. That was a number one, that the spin was a little bit lower than I was expecting. Number two, the feel is great. It's really very solid. It's very robust, almost industrial. It's not got that. I'm so bad at describing feel.
Yeah,
aren't I?
you know what? It's a horrible category to actually try and use vocabulary in.
I use
because
things like frying pans. and
feel
all sorts of
it's a sensory experience the mouth can't quite explain. How about that one
how
for you?
profound. That was lovely, Dan. Yeah,
Basically
so
trying to get you out of having to say loads of words.
yeah. So all I'm going to say is I really
You liked
liked it, and
it.
it's just You get extremes, like we've said before. You get the sort of tinny, high-pitched, clangy ones. You get the very dull, almost hitting like a plank of wood style sounds. Just beautifully pitched in the middle, both in terms of its sound and its feel. It's very, very good.
Okay.
It's extremely user-friendly, as I said, across the face. That very much impressed me. And, yeah, I've tested that out on a few occasions. Very, very much.
That heel's getting a bit of action, isn't it?
Heel does get a bit of action from me, but both from a ball speed retention point of view and from a dispersion point of view, absolutely very, very flattering for those core models.
Front back dispersion as well as side to side.
100%, yeah, retains a lot of ball speed from those little necky ones that I tend to steer towards. Couple of maybe points to improve. I would say the weight system at the back.
Yes,
it works.
Again, we'll bring an image up.
Very functional. So you've got
what
three.
Have you got? Describe it.
So yeah, for those listening, we've got 3 weight ports. So we've got the fade setting out on the toe, we've got the neutral setting in the middle, obviously, and then a draw setting in the heel. So instead of like a sliding rail, which has been used historically before, or things like that, we've just got 3 separate weight ports, and you just pick one of those weight ports for the flight that you want to see. It's very functional and it works really well. When I moved those weights around, I experienced exactly what you should when you move in the CG like that. I experienced the shot shape that it would tell you need to hit. I just don't think it's been executed brilliantly. I think we both agreed when the 2 ports that aren't in use just look unfinished, don't they? They look like they're waiting for something.
Yeah, correct. It's like you can see an empty port. You can see the, what do you call it? The thing it latches
just
on.
The thread of the screw.
Thread. You can see the thread of the screw, and then again, it's just from an angle you're not going to see very often, but it looks like 2 have fallen out, to be honest with you.
It does a little bit, doesn't it? It looks like it should all be taken care of.
So scruffy nature for something that costs X amount of what they are.
Yes, that would be my only criticism on the appearance on that side. But again, that's a soul issue. Again, you're not going to see that when you're playing at all. You know, it's not going to be there visible at address. So again, it possibly is a slightly irrelevant point, but we're nitpicking here. We're getting deep into the weeds, and we're just trying to say, yeah,
our drivers are all so good nowadays that we have to. It's our job to nitpick.
Yeah, absolutely. And the final point on the core range, like I said, I'm still confused by why there's 2 different finishes, but I'm going to probably say that throughout.
I don't get it.
Yeah,
never seen anything like it.
I'd love an explanation on that. And again,
it's like they're not from the same family. It's like one's like it's like the Triple Diamond's a stepson.
Well, it's either the other way, isn't it? I said this. I think I've already recorded a review video, and I think I said on the video, it's one of 2 things. It's either like, if this is a family, they've picked a favourite child and given that the shine and the gloss and paid for private education and put everything into that child, and then the other 2 just dull them down a bit. So it's either that
we can't afford to send all of them to private school,
or the carbon's more expensive, and they've gone, crikey, we've blown the budget here on the first 2.
Yeah,
just gloss that one up. It's one or the other, isn't it? It's like someone's either been treated well, or someone's being shunted out of the family.
It's not an accident, is it? They've not accidentally. There wasn't like an email that didn't get sent to Callaway that said we're going to do them all gloss.
It's supposed to be matte, Steve. No, it's not. I don't think it's that. It's a very deliberate play. And like I said, individually, they all look, to me, from the playing position, I think they all look really good. But it is confusing why they're not the same. That's all.
So the core sounds like it's really going to appeal to the masses. So talk me through why you'd maybe want to go for the X or the Triple Diamond, whichever one you want to start with.
Well, let's start with the X. Yeah. Let's go with the X. Sort of aimed at the higher handicap, slower swing speed player that's going to miss the middle a lot, that's going to want that maximum forgiveness, want the extra launch, everything involved. I put blah, blah, blah there in my notes. So
that's great for a podcast, Joe. Good work.
So I'm not sure why I've done that. But
can I ask a question?
Go
on. I've asked there, why would you go for that over the other one? Does it have as much draw bias as something like, I'm using the Cobra for reference because we can't talk about any others yet, the Cobra DS Adapt Max D?
I would say...
is this a draw bias jobby, or is this just a higher MOI jobby?
Well, there's, getting into the tech of it, there's actually 2 settings on the sole. So you've got those weight ports again, which will present the same problem we spoke about in the last one. When one's not in use,
so we've just got draw and neutral.
Does look yes, you don't have the fade option of this. So inherently, I found this even in the neutral setting to have pretty strong draw bias. I wouldn't say it was as draw bias as the Cobra that we.
You said you couldn't help but hit left. It just goes left.
Like I said in that, if you're slicing that when it's in the left setting on the Nelson,
call it a day.
Just knock it on the head, guys. You got no help.
Please listen to the Cobra episode to find out what Nelson means.
What the Nelson is, yeah. But yeah, so I think even in the neutral setting, it's a slight inherent draw bias, I would say. Like I said, not as prevalent. When you flick that weight into the draw setting, that gets very, very draw bias again. So it's got that real option to it. But again, I just think from a feel point of view, again, similar to the core model.
Here comes some words.
Little bit more robust, little bit more industrious, slightly firmer feeling than some. I really like it.
Yeah.
I really like that feel. I don't like that necessarily sort of soft and melty feel that some drivers give you. So I really enjoy that kind of slightly harsher impact sensation. It's got a really nice mid-pitch noise throughout. It is a serious fairway finder. So because it spins quite a lot, which is obviously what it's designed to do. Yeah. It's meant to launch, it's meant to stay in the air, it's meant to help people get it airborne. And inevitably, when you start moving MOI quite heavily back, spin goes up. And it does spin. And for me, I think I've said this maybe about the Cobra as well, the Max K in the Cobra, when you're making the very high MOI products, some of them cross over, some of them don't spin as much as you might go in as some others. So you could get a higher speed player playing it and not getting excessive spin. I don't think I could find a way to make that playable for me. I'm about 118 to 120 sometimes in clubhead speed. So I think that is going to stay very much in that slower swing. And that's where it's aimed for. They're not aiming...
It needs to have that difference.
Correct. They're not aiming to put it in the hands of people like me. And for the people that are going to use it, that extra spin and that extra launch is going to be really, really useful. And like I said, because of that spin, just an incredible fairway finder. The dispersion is so tight in my testing. Not as obviously far as the core model or the Triple Diamond because it is spinning up, but to me, the premise of that is the more backspin you get, it kind of mitigates not side spin, because I've said in one of these, side spin doesn't exist, whether people like that or not.
Oh, yeah, let's go.
True horizontals. Should we revisit?
Should we go there?
Let's relitigate that.
That sounds fun.
No, let's not do that. So when the spin axis, when you don't have as much backspin, spin axis can tilt a little bit more. The more backspin you've got, the straighter your shots are likely to be, because the more it's spinning backwards, the less it wants to tilt that spin axis in general. Very, very broad terms. It's partly why you hit your pitching wedge straighter with less curvature than you would hit your 3-iron or your 3-wood, because 10,000 revs of backspin is going to mitigate that sort of spin axis a little bit more. And that's exactly what you see with the Elyte X. I just think it didn't blow me away, but I do think it's just a very good, strong, solid offering in that high MOI, forgiving driver. If you want to find fairways, you want something easy to launch and get up in the air that feels good, that looks lovely from the playing position, you've got a genuinely very strong option with Elyte X for me.
And do you think there's enough of a gap between Elyte X and Elyte for people to really, when they're in a fit? Okay, good.
I do, yeah. If Elyte, like I said, Elyte's at the slightly lower end of that spin profile.
And you said it was a bit lower spinning anyway, when you take other drivers into account.
Correct, yeah. Okay. It differentiates itself with there. And, well, frankly, Dan, I've saved the best till last.
The Trippy D.
I'm even going to put my laptop down for this.
Because you just know it, don't you?
I want to express it. This is an absolute...
The Tango Delta. Come on, then.
The Tango Delta, yes. This is just an absolute beauty. So, first off, both positions to me, both angles. We're talking double visual here.
You've really perked up.
I have perked up.
Suddenly
this
gone, ooh.
This is strong, let me tell you. I wrote a very good piece in the verdict for this on my written review.
He's got very interesting opinions and wrote very good pieces.
Yeah. Very humble. So yeah, from the soul point of view, I think this is number one, the best out of the range comfortably. Mm-hmm. I like that carbon. I like the graphics. I like the accent colors. I like the split weights on the sole. So you've got a couple of options there to make it slightly less or slightly more aggressive in terms of spin profile. I like it from that angle, and from the playing position down in front of me, just perfect. I like the clean crown. It is multi-material, so you've got that joining strip and you've got that banner strip, but they put those in the same finish. So the banner strip and the back portion of the club have been finished in that same black gloss, so it does sort of blend into one another a little bit more, and you don't see that tapering of the join on the hosel as much. It's a little bit more compact and squat.
I'd say a lot more compact, actually.
Yeah, complete. Yeah, shape. Yeah, I'd say that's fair. And it does feel a lot deeper in the face to me as well. So straight away, as soon as I picked up, I was intrigued, and I thought, yes, it was a bit of me, and I thought I like this. And then when I hit it, Dan, I'm just consulting my notes here.
When I hit it, the room set on fire and I ascended to heaven.
No, that's
Wow.
not quite what I've written there, Dan. That's being silly. Obviously, this one suits me the best. With my speed and my delivery, and a lower spin product was going to probably be the one that I got the most out of. But this really is excellent. Like everything I would want to see in a low spin driver and a little bit more. So starting with the feels a little... I think it feels better than the other two for me personally. Again, a very subjective topic. People who want different things. But it's just a little bit more muted and a little bit more subdued. The other two have a slightly higher pitch noise to them. This one's got a little more subtle impact feel, and you get that sort of feel and sound are so closely linked. And because of that sort of more subdued sound, you get a subtler feel, a bit more depth of strike. It's not as... feels like the ball's on the face for a little bit longer, weirdly, which I don't think is the case, but that's sort of how it feels. There's a bit more depth of strike to it. It feels really, 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 really good.
How many reallys? Go on, son.
Yeah, that was 4. Yeah, that's on my notes there.
Yeah.
So in terms of raw data, wouldn't blow me away versus last year's. Last year's Paradigm AI Smoke Triple Diamond.
That's the one.
It was a really good driver.
Yeah, it was.
Very hot. Xander's used it all year, but rather impressively. It was hot, low spinning, really good numbers. But what really has sort of jumped out at me here, this is so much more playable. So I found the AI Smoke a little bit needy in terms of strike.
I love that turn of phrase.
It was a bit needy. It needed you to be very, very central, and when you weren't, I found.
It kicked off.
For me, it kicked off. Yeah,
wasn't happy.
Was not
Ringing
happy.
Where are you? That's not the centre of the face.
A lot of missed calls, a lot of things that were going wrong there. A lot of missed fairways. So yeah, if you're on your game, AI Smoke Triple Diamond was a fabulous driver and would really give you some serious distance output. This is just so much more forgiving. Now I've played a couple of rounds with this. In fact, I've played 3 rounds with it, and I don't think I've had a bad driving day yet. One in particular I played in Abu Dhabi, Yas Links.
Hold on.
It's not that's a head cover. That's not a name.
Do you want to tell the people what you shot there?
Well, it didn't end up that good. I really got it going. I was 7 under through 17, and then managed to double the last, which wasn't a great finish.
That's a shame.
So it was a bit of a shame.
That hurt. That still hurt.
Got a bit aggressive. It was par 5. I was trying to take a very aggressive line off the tee, and and paid the price.
It's okay.
But anyway, in terms of that, like I didn't feel like I was swinging it particularly well that day, and I wasn't finding the center of the face as well as I do on possibly some other days. But the ball was just in play all day. It's got quite a noticeable fade bias, which suits me. I quite like cutting the ball, and Callaway do say that. I think they've admitted there is a little bit of a fade bias.
What do you think that is,
in
tech-wise?
that product?
Just the way it's built. I mean, is there any weighting out there?
There's nothing that's been said specifically about that in the sort of press releases to say why that would be the case. But I think a lot of better players tend to want to eliminate left. A lot of better players fear that hook shot or fear anything going left. So it tends to, again, it's so general because everyone's so different, but sometimes these sort of better player, lower spinning drivers are geared to have just a slight fade bias, and this definitely does. I noticed I was cutting it. It's my natural shot anyway, but I found it very easy to come by that cut. But I also found it genuinely workable. So if I wanted to knock one down, just drop the tee peg a little bit and get one going flat, it would do that. If I wanted to peg it up a little bit more, launch it straight up in the air, it would do that. I needed to turn one over on one particular round, and that's not a shot I'm very good at executing. And I found that really easy to do. And I couldn't give you the technical reason why that is in the head. You
just felt comfortable with it. And it sounds like it's an incredibly receptive driver. It's receptive to change and you being able to
well, it's reasonable. It's a very...
It understands you're out late with work.
It does. It understands I've got 2 kids. It understands I've got a lot of business, a lot of stuff going on with work. It understands I'm not hitting a lot of practice balls. So because of that understanding, it lets me off. Lets me off with a few little things. That's a very good way of describing that.
It's a good analogy.
It's not needy. It's understanding, but also when it doesn't need to be understanding. When I do get things right, it's very nice to me then as well. It's a really, it is. It's very friendly, this driver. You're absolutely right. And I think
it's charming. It's got a character to it.
I think because of that, and because these obviously these split weights on the bottom, where you can just change that profile a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I was playing when I've been doing this and saying how friendly it is. I've had the sort of heavier weight slightly towards the back to just increase the MOI a little bit because it is a really low spinning product. So maybe that's where I'm experiencing the friendliness. When you do switch those weights over, you do go into a slightly more volatile beast mode.
But beast mode can be activated.
Beast mode can indeed be activated. I wouldn't say it's as drastic as some of the other drivers I've tested this year. I'd say it's drops maybe, for me, it was around 100 revs, which is not negligible, but it's not massive.
Not as big as some, yeah.
But it doesn't need to. It's a low spinning product already. And I just don't really know what's not to like here. It does exactly what it's supposed to do, delivering the launch monitor it should, launch monitor data it should, the ball speeds it should, and it's got some some bonus features. Like I said, how maneuverable it is, how workable it is. The feels better than it has been, and it's just so understanding.
Love it.
Doesn't
what
judge
a review!
you. It doesn't judge you, and this has got.
Is that going in your bag by any chance?
It's in there right now.
Yeah.
It's got every chance of
having a long term
relationship, just because of how understanding she is. So there's every chance she could be with me for a while. This one, so yeah, really, really keen on this product, and this is by far the best of the bunch for me.
Wow, good review, Joe. Again, I've just been hearing all of this for the first time. So, glowing review. My summary, having taken all this on board. Impressive range. Again, 3 drivers that do 3 clear jobs. Slightly higher MOI in all 3 of them by all accounts. It has worked. And that LS, if you're a high speed, low spin kind of player, is something you should really be going to test out by all accounts.
That is a very good point. If we refer back to what I was saying, when we're talking about the tech and what they're trying to achieve, they've genuinely achieved that.
It's so. What do we expect from these manufacturers, really? But when they present all this tech, it's nice to just see it work. I know we trust them it's going to, but to visibly see it happen is actually really impressive, isn't it?
It is, and it does. So yeah, well done, Callaway.
Lastly, before we go on to fairways and hybrids, head cover, it's a sort of moot point because
I'm going to let you take care of it. Yeah, what do you think?
Well, for those listening, we've got a lovely finish on the inside because I've put my whole hand in it. Black, white, and the green. It's clean, it's simple, it's a boxing glove style head cover. It's fine.
Okay, fine is the review from Dan.
Yeah, it's like a
I think
7
I
out of
agree.
10.
I've never been a massive. There's quite a lot of white on it, and I think that ages, doesn't it? So halfway through the season, I do a lot of, with all the best intentions, I'll look after this, but then you come off a bogey on the 7th, and then you pull out your driver, slam it into the mud. That white's never going to be quite as white. So I'm not a huge fan of white on head covers.
I put my own head covers on anyway, so
it's a very good point. But also, to caveat that, I do really like this little green accent used again.
Love
very
that.
much epic speed vibes. Brought that back. I think that's a really nice look for Callaway.
Cool. Right, fairways and hybrids, Joe. Now, again, our colleague Sam Diath, who works with Golf Monthly.
Do you mind if I crack open a lemonade?
Ooh, go on, son. You can
Better than the wine we had at the pointy.
Have out the can if you want. You're going to pour it in your glass.
I'm going to pour it in the glass.
Did you get 2?
No, I did not get 2.
That's okay.
Camera crew are frantically waving at me here. Is this a product placement thing, or are we just running out of time? We're running out of time. Let's get on with things.
No Sprite. No Sprite.
Sprites.
No, it means we've been talking for 45 minutes and that we should be wrapping up in the next 15.
Fairways.
So Sam Diath, our colleague, he's the category tester for this, but we've spoken to him. Go.
There's not much to say here.
Great.
From a fairway point of view, again, Sam, which is always nice, he sort of mirrored my thoughts.
That helps.
So throughout, the 3 models are the same: Elyte, Elyte X, and Triple Diamond, and they pretty much do the same thing. He found the standard Elyte to just spin a touch lower than some of the other core models.
Interesting.
Found the Elyte X incredibly easy to launch, incredibly high spinning. So that's if you're struggling if you need some help getting the ball airborne, you're going to be an Elyte X player. And Triple Diamond, again, I think he's a really big fan of that.
He's a very high speed player as well.
He is a very high speed player, and he's a very good ball strike. He doesn't even need the understanding that the new Triple Diamond offers. He could have a very needy.
He have a very needy fairway.
And he can meet those needs.
Yeah.
He's a man that can meet the needs of most clubs.
I've heard as much.
Yes, so he. I won't relitigate all of that. The fairways do a very similar job.
Can I ask quickly?
Please do. Why are you tapping me?
Is it the gloss matte situation on the crown as well?
Indeed, yes.
Okay, so they've kept that through.
Yes.
If they changed that would have been wild. I'd have been like, right, what the heck? Now I'm confused. But
that would have been a bit wilder, yes. And again, I'm gonna skip over the hybrids a little bit because I don't know why. I think hybrids are dying. We can get into this.
This sounds like a good debate for later in the year.
This will be another debate later in the year.
Give us a reason.
There's quite significant technical reasons. There's CG location reasons. If we're talking about needy and volatile, hybrids are the most high
Where are you?
maintenance.
I just left the house.
They are the most high maintenance golf clubs available. The CG location makes it very difficult to produce consistent flight.
You're having this thought right now.
No, I'm not. I'm just trying to work out how to say it because it's very difficult without getting really heavy into it. I'm going to go over the hybrids a little bit just because Sam once again felt pretty much what I've described in driver carries on through the hybrids.
How many
and
hybrids
the
are there?
fairways. Crikey, Dan, let me consult my notes because this isn't where I live. Let me go back here. Phil.
Phil. Who's Phil? Phil McCracken.
Oh dear, Dan, it's gone to that stage. So you can tell here I don't test the hybrids, but there are
hybrid.
two.
Oh.
Elyte and Elyte X.
Okay.
So it's not kind of a pro model, so they'll be using more of the driving iron situation in that. The Apex UTs, the Apex UWs will be your better player
Or, as
option
you
there.
rightly said, 7 woods, 9 woods, driving irons that are taking over that top space of the bag.
They seem to be.
We'll save that conversation for another day. But so let's move on to something you do know
That was
about.
a tough few moments for me. That
tricky.
was.
Get a lemonade, Danny. Is that lemonade?
Yes.
That's flat as anything.
Yes.
Let's talk about something you do know about.
Irons.
And that I am in awe of these irons.
As soon as you saw these when you came in this
awe.
morning. Yeah, I don't know what.
Out there.
I've got the standard to start
Get
with.
an X out as well.
So we've got 3 in this Elyte series. We've got the Elyte, we got the Elyte X, and we got the Elyte HL. Elyte and Elyte HL are.
Elyte is silly. It's silly, Joe.
It's impressive, isn't it? Just calm down. Let me get to this.
Sorry.
So the Elyte and the
It's
Elyte
silly.
HL are very, very similar products. Obviously, the HL is just designed to launch a little bit higher. It's got slightly weaker lofts. The face has been engineered slightly different. So we're going to kind of talk about them one and the same, but it's nice that you've got the option there to have kind of a stronger lofted. For context here, the Elyte is 29 degrees. The Elyte X,
The 7-9.
which we'll talk, in 7-iron, good point, is the Elyte X is 28 degrees. This is more a distance-orientated option, and the HL is 30 degrees in the 7-iron.
A
So we're
lot
only
of
1
brands
degree
now have
increments.
got that,
Which I like,
that weakened option. I think it's really important to
Yeah,
have
Ping
that.
do that with their sort of standard retro and power spec.
They've even got
don't they? You can
HL
do-
builds for even lighter heads. I think it's really important to understand that if you aren't a big hitter and you struggle to get the ball up in the air, you don't need the stronger lofts for more distance. You actually weaker lofts to get that thing up in the air. So it's great that that option exists.
Correct. But yeah, let's get onto the elephant in the room.
Man, these look good.
Honestly, I think they're the best looking I've ever seen in the game improvement category.
Let's
Full
whack
stop.
some images up for the folk while we're holding them and sort of
Fucking
dribbling
camera.
over them.
They
But
just look great.
it's unbelievable that this is a game improvement from everything for me, Joe. Again, this is my first impression literally a couple of hours ago from the numbering, the way they've hidden the cavity, the cap that hides the cavity. It's so minimal. It's just got Callaway and Elyte on it, and this sort of
No unnecessary colours. It's just
no
we've
colour.
got,
There's
we've got
no
a bit
colour.
of
I
brushed
love
steel.
that.
We've got a bit of chrome. We've got just a nice little bit of
What's this bit? What's
bit of
that
texture
bit?
with it.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
what you'd call it, but it's just a little bit of texture within the cavity.
It's utterly gorgeous.
It's as premium as it gets,
looks like
isn't
a
it?
P790s shape and sort
Oh,
of
I'm sorry.
definition wise.
I'm gonna superserp you there. Superserp you, upserp you, usurp you.
You're
What's
gonna
the word?
usurp me. Don't do that. Take me out for dinner first.
Okay. Well, for me, I think it's far better looking. I
Wow,
honestly
wow.
don't think I've seen a better looking iron in this, whether it's a player's distance category, whether it's the game
Actually,
improvement
yeah.
category that's sitting in there. I just think it's absolutely superb. I hate it. One of my biggest bugbears is people in the game improvement category patronizing higher handicap players with cartoony graphics, bright colors, thinking these simpletons need some stimulating. That's not what's been done here. They've just given them a really sophisticated, premium looking finish, and I almost didn't care how they performed because they just look so
in love
good.
with how they look.
Honestly, anyone would be thrilled to have these in the bag, and that carries on from X and HL. All they've done with the X, you've got the same look. They've just got a
I've got it
tiny
out
little
here.
X. Well, you can see it from that angle. You've
Oh,
just got a tiny little X on the back of the toe, just to know you're differentiating there. But
Quite a bit, well, not quite a bit, a noticeable amount more offset, a wider
Correct.
sole, thicker top. But that's fine. That's what these are made for. But because they've carried on the money shot, which is that backside view, Whoa, it's good, isn't it, Joe?
Isn't it just?
So impressed. So impressed. But do talk about the performance.
Yeah, looks normally reserved for lower handicap categories, but I don't know why. So it's great to see that spreading.
Like you said, spread the love. But like you said, take iron categories out of the equation. This is one of the best looking irons I've ever seen.
In its, as a single entity out of categories, and from both angles. Again, I've just waffled on in the driver segment about how relevant is that back.
Really compact blade length.
Well, the irons are an interesting one, aren't they? Because like we say about the back of drivers and the sole of drivers, not that relevant because they're always covered in the head cover. You're never going to see them. These sit in the bag.
These are important.
Gleam. You're going to look at those the whole way around, and I just couldn't.
You can
wait
look like
to
a player when you got these in the bag.
Honestly, utterly brilliant. And I said almost didn't care how they perform, but just let me get in the playing position for, like you say, not an excessive blade length, minimal offset. Well, healthy offset, but
not
beautifully executed. Again, with the way we'll get into this again at some point, or in depth at some point. Hosel transitions, how the hosel
can't wait for
flows
that
into
episode.
the club head. And my wife can't wait for me to plan that episode either. How the hosel transitions into the club head, where and how curved they make that can have a really big impact on disguising or highlighting offset. It's not a massive top line, but there's enough. It's just from every angle you look at this whole set of clubs, and from another good point to make, from wedge all the way through to the 5-iron, which was the highest iron they sent me. Every head, there's not a. Sometimes I pick up a set. Remember Blandy saying he picks up 8-iron. I pick up everything, and there's usually one club.
It's normally the 4s and the 5s in these things that really struggle for
everything.
Me. Yeah,
nailed it.
Okay,
100% nailed it. Right. Tech hasn't massively changed from their sort of game improvement offering last year. There is a new speed frame construction inside, and that's basically just to allow more of the urethane microspheres, which are the little dots they put inside that dampen.
They use that in the CB wedge.
Correct, and they dampen the vibration and help the sound improve on these sort of hollow-bodied irons. But one other great thing, they've introduced a tri-sole. Can you see this? Oh. So you've got a bit of beveling on the back, see a bit of relief guys off there, and a little bit on the front here. If you get it in certain lights, you can see a little half moon crescent shape there. So basically, that's the C grind from the wedges. They've taken inspiration from their wedge line, which I've been banging on for you for ages about bounce and grinding irons. No one's doing it. Callaway have done that here with this tri-sole. And the turf interaction.
Yeah, wow. They must have heard the episode. Listening.
Yeah, well, thanks, guys.
Turning it around so quick.
Well done.
It's that new 3D printing machine.
Exactly. All those prototypes. But it genuinely works. The turf interaction is exceptional. They just, and I've tested this on numerous turfs. I was out in Spain, some quite juicy, coarse grass, in and out like a thief in the night.
Oh, very good, Joe. I enjoyed that.
Then
where
back
you were going.
In the UK it's Saunton on tight Linksy turf, totally different turf. Again, slippery as an eel.
You're good today.
Thank you. Just through that turf, it really enhances the feel. The feel is great as well. Again, probably like the rest of the range, slightly. There are softer in this category, but it's far from harsh, and those
urethane
microspheres do a very good job of taking any sort of sensation of hollow out of here.
That's good.
Like I said, data not a huge, massive leap from last year, but they don't need to be. The unquantifiables here are what make this exceptional. Looks, turf interaction, that trailing edge relief is a nice addition. And we've got those three options. We've got the stock, we've got the X, which is, hesitate to say super game improvement, but
it will be at 18 handicap pluses.
Yeah, so that's longer blade length.
Probably go down to, I don't know, I'll put that in my bag.
Honestly, I see some single figures playing these quite comfortably and being very, very happy with what they see from there. But yeah, the X is just, if you want a little bit more, there's more offset, there's a thicker top line, there's a wider sole, there's a slightly longer blade length. So if you love the look of these, but you're just a little bit, I could do with a bit more, you got the X. If you love the look of these, but they're a bit strong lofted for you, you've got the HL. I don't know if I've expressed this enough.
I think we have. We've been gorfing and gwumping all over these for the last 5 minutes.
And I didn't expect that. You go to these driver releases, excited to see new driver because everyone's on about drivers.
Correct.
And I came away thinking, whilst I love a lot of what I saw with driver, and particularly the Triple Diamond, as I keep waffling on about, this was the star of the show for me. I just think they're
I'm totally
exceptional.
Stunned by it, and totally stunned by these. And this is genuinely, I've seen them for the first time. I've seen images of them. I was like, yeah, fine. But you get them in person, the quality, the craftsmanship, the attention to detail they put into such an iron is so impressive. So if you are in the game improvement market, and you know what, heck, even if you're not, and And you know what would be interesting? We've congratulated Callaway in their Apex range for how well they've integrated the look of them between the models and the family, allowing for combo sets. I mean, you could whack the 4 or the 5 iron of this in, and then go down into the Apex. You know, there's so many options. This is part of it now.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. I think the aesthetic's slightly different to, say, the Apex range.
It doesn't have like the black.
Yeah,
notch
the
in the
Apex,
back.
you've already got kind of like, you go MVs, CBs, Pros, and then you go up into the
Yeah,
AI,
oh, yeah.
200s, 300s.
This
I think
is
they do a good job. This is a slightly
Okay.
different category from that. And I don't think you'd need to combo them because the shorter irons look so, again, look at that wedge.
Oh yeah, I've not seen the wedge yet. I've been looking at the 8 iron all episode.
The wedge looks so neat and tidy.
Looks
I
like
don't know
mine.
why
Looks
you'd
like
want to.
looks like my wedge.
Yeah,
looks
I
like
don't
a
know why
1930 wedge.
exactly. So why would you want to combo that into anything else? I don't see this as a big combo thing. I think you just get a
Okay.
full set of these
Fair enough.
for Christmas.
For
Not
Christmas?
Christmas. It's after Christmas.
Well,
It's the new year.
You can get it next.
Rumble dust
You
down.
can get it next Christmas.
Get it next. No, don't get it sooner.
Get it
'cause
now.
that
They'll
is-
replace them by next Christmas.
I can't even tell you how impressed I am. I
Wow.
think you're getting the gist of it,
If
right?
you're in the game improvement market, get them tested out. Just go see them, man. They're really cool. Well done, Joe. That is Callaway Elyte. And what do we think? Let's do final closing thoughts, closing arguments, closing summary.
Drivers confused about the differing aesthetic. Not sure that was necessary. Not hugely relevant though. So being a bit picky. The X and the Elyte do a really good job for what they're supposed to do. The X is very forgiving, launches really high. The Elyte will appeal to a very broad spectrum of players. Has a slightly lower spin profile than I'm used to for drivers in that core situation. The Triple Diamond's just blooming brilliant and might be with me and has taken on its own
It's now
individual
got a whole
personality.
character. Yeah, we need to name it. Like it's already got a name.
Yeah. So and again,
We like that one.
to me, that'll be in the hands of more players than ever before. I just think because of
You
its
think it's going to bring more people who can't quite get into LS into LS?
So-
because it's not LS.
Triple Diamond.
Like
so people
Triple Diamond,
who've
like
looked
Tango
like the
Delta.
look of Tango Delta before, but maybe been intimidated, be intimidated no more.
Yeah.
The doors are open.
The
Get in
doors
there,
are open.
Test her out. Hybrids and fairways. I think you'll see I glossed over those a little bit because
That's
I haven't
fine.
actually hit them.
I'd
I
rather
don't want
gloss
to.
over them than give people.
Yeah, I don't want to
rubbish.
make up
Yeah.
waffle, but like as I said, I'm translating what Sam said. Seems to be a very similar story throughout that in terms of the models
That's
doing
fine.
what they're supposed to do. And I think that's great. And those will be reviewed properly in Golf Monthly. So if you want to get
Links
real,
in description for Sam's full review. Do go and check them.
Yeah,
and,
do.
and
So you want to hear
just
him more
get it
in-
from the horse's mouth as opposed to from the horse's rear end, quite frankly.
seems like it, doesn't it? And I don't know what else you want me to say on the irons. I
We've
think
just
you
done
got the
that.
gist of it.
Yeah, if you haven't got that,
Just-
we'll go back 5 minutes.
Blooming good.
So well done, Callaway, and that is our second driver lot. Again, we'll bring more head-to-head comparisons in when we can. There are more drivers to come we can't talk about. So come, I know, mate.
I'm excited. It was that
Keep
whole
going.
hybrid debacle that you panicked me when you said, how many is there?
What? I'm panicking.
I can't remember.
I'm panicking. Who won the 2021 US Open? I'm panicking.
Got it though, didn't I?
You did, well. So when the time comes and they're all released, we'll do more head-to-head. But that is all you need to know about the Callaway Elyte range. Well done, Joe, because you are Bravo's deep in things at the minute, aren't you?
I am quite busy reviewing a lot of products. I've got not much headspace. Don't know where I pulled Thief from the Night, Slippery as an Eel.
It's good stuff, man.
Good stuff.
Good
isn't it?
stuff.
Real good stuff.
So if you've enjoyed that, do let us know. Comment, like, subscribe,
And if you
review.
haven't, keep it to yourself. Frankly, not bothered.
Well said. We'll be back next week for another driver release, would you believe?
Good.
Come on, sell it to the people.
Yeah, I am looking. I'm loving this driver season. I've got a lot of work to do.
But we
There's
are
some
loving it. It's
genuinely
silly
int-
season. It's what we're here to do.
There's some genuinely interesting product. Yeah, having a good time. Just make it stop.
Right. Thank you for listening. We're back same time next week for another driver release. Thank you for joining us and well done, Joe.
Slippery as an eel.
See you next week.